En vlak voor deze uitzending sprak ik met de Griekse hoogleraar economie aan de Universiteit van Athene, Yannis Varoufakis. En ik vroeg hem of hij vandaag iets nieuws heeft gehoord van zijn premier in Berlijn.
No, nothing whatsoever. The Chancellor, Mrs. Merkel, and our Prime Minister, Mr. Papandreou, performed a double act in Berlin, the purpose of which was to placate the members of parliament of Mrs. Merkel's coalition, to soften them up, so to speak, for the Thursday vote in the Bundestag, in order to pass the new tranches of loans, as well as the changes to the European Financial Stability Fund, that are very important to Mrs. Merkel, for the simple reason that without them the euro crisis is going to cascade completely out of control, and the troubles of the German and French banks will be revealed.
Right. So your Prime Minister also promised to pay the debt back in full. Is that a fairy tale, or could it really happen?
It is a fairy tale, I'm afraid, but it is one that European officials, as well as the IMF folks from Washington, have been rehearsing now for a year and a half. Everyone knows that it's a fairy tale, nobody believes it, but I suppose like Santa Claus at Christmas, some enjoy or find some utility out of this story.
So you described this whole show in Berlin as complete and utter nonsense?
No, it's not nonsense, it's very serious business. Because what we have here is an attempt by Mrs. Merkel and the powers that be in Europe to buy time in order to make their minds up. They should have made their minds up a year and a half ago. The cost to the whole of the Eurozone, to Holland, to Greece, to Portugal, to Germany is enormous, because when they are forced by the nature of circumstances to come up with a real solution, as opposed to what they are doing now, the cost will be huge for everyone. And what is happening now is an attempt to mislead two parliaments at once, the Berlin Parliament and the Athens Parliament, into passing measures that everybody knows will not work, simply because Mrs. Merkel is not ready yet to make her mind up about what she wants to do with the Euro system.
Okay, this is macroeconomics. Let's talk about you and your fellow countrymen. How big is your cut in your pay at the University of Athens?
42%. While at the same time we have a barrage of new taxes. Only tonight the Greek Parliament passed an astonishing piece of legislation, which is, interestingly, a declaration by the Greek government that it does not trust its own tax office to collect property taxes. So what they're doing is they're collecting the new tax that was passed today. Listen to this. Through the electricity company, which means that if you don't pay your tax, your property tax, your electricity supply is going to be cut off in a matter of weeks. So this is what things have come to. It's a government which is effectively blackmailing its own citizenry. The reason why it has to do this is because, let me put it very simply, most people I know simply cannot afford to pay the extra taxes. For instance, let me give you an example. Last week, most Greeks received a notice from the tax office requesting an additional sum of taxation for 2010, retrospective taxation, something that I don't believe that has ever happened in peacetime in any democracy. And it's not that Greeks, well, of course, nobody's happy to pay such tax, but I believe that the body politic here in Greece are simply incapable of paying this tax. So what did they come up with? The idea of taxing them through the electricity company, because that way, effectively, you're putting a pistol on people's head.
Right. So the mood must be terrible in your country. Talking about the end game in this, do you see an end game? How will this all end, and are we near seeing a solution or a total disaster?
There will be no end game in Greece. Most Greeks ceased being angry some time ago. Now they are depressed. And depression it does not augur well either for productivity or even for protest. The end game is going to come from France, from the French banks, which are collapsing as we speak. It will come from Italy, where the public debt is skyrocketing through the ceiling, with spreads increasing inexorably. It's going to come from the financial markets. Maybe it's going to come from the United States of America, which is watching us Europeans trying to make a drama out of a crisis and pressurizing our European leaders. I don't think that there is much life left in the status quo. I think that Europe is on the verge of implosion. The euro system is in danger. Something must give. I don't know exactly what it is, but there is no way that we can continue with the current delusion that we are all living under.
Are you saying Greece is a sideshow now?
Greece has been a sideshow since at least the 21st of July, when our European leaders decided to save Greece, in inverted commas, by putting so much of the burden of its salvation onto the European Financial Stability Fund, therefore immediately transferring the contagion to Italy and Spain. From that moment onwards, I think that we are simply an interesting spectacle for visiting journalists, watching and poking the corpse, which is what has become of the Greek social economy.
It doesn't sound very good, all this news from Greece. Yanis Varoufakis, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.